So in this section we are going to devise the unit which is based on the ARM system architecture. Whenever we are talking about embedded system, ARM is indeed an important part of this embedded system. So that's why we will see what is the exact design philosophy, how they are implemented, what is the processor family and so on. So in that we are going to see the RISC design philosophy, ARM design philosophy, embedded system software, hardware, the registers, CPSR pipeline and ARM processor families. Now talking about RISC and CISC. CISC is a complex instruction set computer, whereas RISC is a reduced instruction set computer, and RISC itself contains the smaller set of instruction with few addressing nodes. Because of that, the RISC name is there, and CISC contains the larger set of instructions with number of addressing nodes. So we can see in the diagram as well, because of large number of instructions there is a complexity at the level of processor, whereas there is a flexibility in the RISC at the processor level. So RISC design philosophy is aimed at delivering simple but powerful instructions which executes within the single cycle at a very high clock speed. It provides greater flexibility and intelligence in software rather than hardware. The RISC philosophy is implemented with four major design rules, that is instructions, pipelines, registers, load store architecture. So instructions, as its name implies, RISC processors are having a reduced number of instructions and each instruction is having a fixed length, whereas when we are talking about CISC processors, they are having a variable size and they used to have many cycles to execute. The second design rule is pipeline. The processing of instructions is broken down into smaller units. No need for an instruction to be executed by a mini program called microcode as on CISC processors. So whenever we are talking about RISC, the processing of instruction is broken down into the smaller units. Now talking about registers, the registers act as the fast local memory which is used to store all the data processing operations. And in load store architecture, the processor operates the data and that is kept in the registers, and the another separate memory access is there for the data processing. Now ARM is we can say advanced version, because ARM is nothing but advanced RISC machine. So ARM design philosophy is came from RISC design philosophy but in the advanced way. So there are number of physical features that have driven the ARM processor design. Portable embedded system requires some form of battery power. We have seen the recent trends, and in that we have seen the specialities of embedded system, that the less power consumption, less battery backup, everything is needed. High code density is another major requirement in ARM philosophy. It reduces the area of die taken up by the embedded processor. Yes, because we are already using the compact things, reduce things. ARM has incorporated hardware debug technology within the processor. Another extra circuitry is not needed for that. The ARM core is not a pure RISC architecture because of the constraints of its primary application. It is the advanced version of the RISC machines. So these are the ARM design philosophy. Now talking about the instruction sets for embedded systems, the ARM instruction set differs from pure RISC actually, definitely, because it is advanced version of RISC, and because of that the instructions are somehow different from the RISC applications. So the ARM instruction set suitable for embedded applications contains the variable cycle execution for certain instructions, the shifter for complex instruction, thumb 16-bit instruction set, conditional execution and the enhanced instructions. Now this is the structure of embedded system hardware, where the ARM processor is there, AHB arbiter is there, AHB, APB bridges are there. Then we can see the modules that are nothing but the memory controller. Then a DRAM is used, which is nothing but the dynamic RAM, all of us knows. The real-time clock is there, counters and timers are used. And when we are talking about this is AHP APB. So AHP is nothing but advanced high performance bus, and APB is advanced peripheral bus. So these are used for the communication purposes. Now when we are talking about the ARM bus technology, the embedded systems uses the different bus technologies than the 8086 PCs. Peripheral component interface bus is used whenever we are talking about this particular ARM bus technology, because ARM bus technology is used in the uh, ARM design philosophy. So for that it is necessary to know which are the various buses that are used in embedded system. So when we are talking that the different bus technologies are used, the first comes that is the PCI, that is the peripheral component interconnect. So it was developed by Intel, and it can operate with 32-bit or 62-bit data buses as well as full 32-bit address bus. The embedded devices uses on-chip bus. There are two different classes of devices that are attached to the bus master and bus slave. So master acts as master for giving the instructions, slave used to execute that. The bus has two architectural levels, that is physical level and the protocol. Now the advanced microcontroller bus architecture, which is known as AMBA, that was introduced in 1996 and has been widely adopted as on-chip bus architecture, which is used for the ARM processors. AMBA bus introduced ASB, APB and AHB. We have seen AHB is advanced, APB is advanced peripheral bus, and whenever we are talking about AHB, so it is nothing but the advanced, what we can say at so AHB is called as advanced high performance bus. So AMBA bus introduces these buses. Using AMBA, peripheral designers can reuse the same design on various projects, so there is no need to create always the another design for the project. This plug and play interface for hardware developer improves the availability and time to market. Because of that plug and play interface, they are easily available. AHB provides higher data throughput than ASB, and this change allows the AHB bus to run at the higher clock speeds. ARM actually introduced two buses, that is multi-layer AHB and AHB Lite. So AHB and multi-layer AHB supports the same protocol for master and slave, but they are having the various interconnections. They permit the operations to occur in parallel so that the higher throughputs can be achieved. Whereas in embedded system software, the initialization code, operating system and applications are important part. So in that we can see on the hardware device we are having initialization and device drivers, and upon that we are having the operating system and the applications. So ARM core architecture contains all the arithmetic logical unit, address registers, instruction decoder and on. Now talking about registers, there are basically 18 active registers. In that 16 are the data registers and 2 are the status registers. So register R13 we can see it is used as the stack pointer, R14 is used as link register, R15 is used as program counter, and depending upon the context the registers R13 and R14 are also used as the general purpose registers. Then comes the CPSR, that is the current program status register. The ARM core uses the CPSR to monitor and control the internal operations. So the CPSR is divided into four fields like flags, status, extension and control. So flags are generally used when the particular operation is performed and we are getting that output, then the flag is set. Status is there, then extensions are there, some interrupt mask control modes are there. So some ARM processor cores have extra bits allocated, for example the J bit. Now when we are talking about the processor mode, we can see over here it determines which registers are active and access rights. Each processor mode is either privileged or it is non-privileged, and there are 7 processor modes in total, that is 6 are the privileged and 1 is the non-privileged. So privileged are abort, fast interrupt request, supervisor, system and undefined, and the non-privileged is the user. So this is how the processor mode we are having the registers that are kept in the mode. Now this figure shows almost 37 registers in the register file, which are available only when the processor is in the particular mode. Each and every processor mode except user mode can change by writing directly to the mode bits of the CPSR, that is the current program status register. Now the banked registers, the figure shows the core changing from user mode. R13, as I said, it contains the stack pointer. So when we are changing from user mode to interrupt request mode, R13 can be used as stack pointer for interrupt request mode. R14, it is link register, which can be containing the return address, and new register appearing in interrupt request mode, that is the SPSR, that is the save program status register. Then the thumb state, the state of the core determines which instruction set is executed. There are basically three instruction sets, that is the ARM, thumb and Jazelle. ARM instruction set is active when processor is in the ARM state. Jazelle J and thumb T bits are in the CPSR when they are reflecting the state of processor. ARM designers actually introduced the third instruction set, which is called as Jazelle. Jazelle executes 8-bit instructions and a hybrid mix of software and hardware. Then comes the interrupt mask. Interrupt masks are used to stop the specific interrupt request from the interrupting processor. There are two interrupt request levels, that is the interrupt request and fast interrupt request. Now when we are talking about flags, Q flag, that is saturation, the result when occurs overflow condition. V is for overflow, that is for signed overflow. C is for carry when the carry is generated. Z is for 0 when result is 0. N is for negative. The pipeline concept is also used in RISC design philosophy. The pipeline is the mechanism of RISC processor which is used to execute the instructions, and because of pipeline the execution speed gets higher. So fetch loads the instruction from memory, decode identifies the instruction to be executed, and execute is executing the process and writes the result. So in the sequence the three instructions are fetch, decode and executed by the processor. ARM9 processors are having the dry tones MIPS per megahertz. Each and every ARM processor is having the different way. In ARM7, pipeline has executed an instruction only when the fourth instruction is fetched. In the execution stage, the PC always points to the address of the instruction plus 8 bytes. When the processor is in thumb state, PC is the instruction address plus 4, and the ARM tail uses branch prediction so that they can reduce the effect of pipeline. Then the core extensions. The hardware extensions are standard components which are placed next to the ARM core. So cache and tightly coupled memory, memory management and coprocessor interface comes under that. The cache is the block of fast memory placed in between main memory and core. Most ARM based embedded systems uses the single level cache. ARM has two forms of cache, von Neumann and Harvard. We have seen these architectures as well. So the cache provides overall increase in performance but at expense of predictable execution. This is achieved by the TCM, that is the tightly coupled memory. TCM is fast SRAM which is located close to the core. This is cache and tightly coupled memory. In the memory management, the different types of memory management hardwares are used, that is no extension, memory protection unit, memory management unit. The architecture revisions we are having, that is ARM in the revision, that is X, Y, Z, T, D, M, I, E, Z, F, S. These revisions are already done in ARM. These are the ARM families which was started from ARM 1 and now till it is till ARM 11 we are having, and the improvement and extensions are going on and going on. So this is all about the revision of our unit 4, that is the ARM design philosophy. Thank you.